right, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. Thank you for watching it real time as a Patreon patron or as a YouTube subscriber or as someone who is considerate enough to link their Amazon Prime account to their Twitch Prime account. And by the way, those aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. You can contribute on Patreon or YouTube subscribe, plus link your Amazon Prime account to Twitch. Instructions are in the show description. Please do that. That is simple, and we get paid, and it costs nothing. It costs Amazon something, and they don't care. Today's question from SIFTD from Commander Fett. When do you think Sony will start marketing PS Now as a competitor to Game Pass? Tough question. It seems like the faster it does, the easier it will be to stay competitive. On a side note, what scotch have you been drinking lately? Good question there, too. I don't think PS Now is a competitor to Game Pass, and I think that the problem is that Game Pass is paying up for content. So Sony first party is or was better than Microsoft first party, but Microsoft's been on this quantity binge, and arguably since they bought Bethesda, they're going to be better quality going forward. But when they bought Bethesda, they got the library, so all those Bethesda old games and all the id Bethesda Arcane games, Dishonored, Doom, Quake, those are all going to be available. And the other thing that Microsoft's done is they've licensed EA's catalog, so you get all of EA games that are a year old and older show up on Game Pass. So they really have significantly higher quantity of content than PS Now, and so I don't think it's marketing. I think PS Now has to either buy a lot of studios or change that model, and they just don't have that model. So Sony, is notorious for putting a game on for 2 or 3 months, but they don't have the games on permanently. So I've not counted, but I bet that Game Pass has twice as many games, probably more, probably 3 times as many games. I don't think that they are competitive, and the cool thing is you don't need an Xbox to be a Game Pass subscriber, so you can be a PlayStation fanboy and you can still be a Game Pass subscriber, and I would do that. If you're a real gamer, you want to play Sony first party because they're great, and you want to play Game Pass because they're great. So I think that you're going to end up doing both. I have a funny scotch habit. I host a scotch and cigar dinner every 6 months. I have since 2009, and I obviously wasn't able to do it during COVID, so my last one was March 6th, 2020, and then we got sheltered in place, and I wasn't able to do one in September or March, September 20 or March of 21. I just had one in September of 21, so I'd say I've done 20 of them, in 12 years, or 21. And what I do is I always buy, I serve 10 to 12 scotches, usually 11, and all different. And I always include at least 5 that I haven't had before. So I have to research them and learn about them, and I typically taste them for the first time. And usually they're variations of something I've had before. So, for example, early on, and I can't afford to do this anymore because the price got away from me, I did this Glen Rothy's vintage series, and you can find these, but my God, are they expensive. Glen Rothy's is a round bottle, like a bulbous bottle, and they started doing vintages by year, so not age, but year. 1985 was the first one, and they did 85, 88, 91, 93, 95, 96, something like that. I haven't seen them since 2002 or 3, so I think they stopped doing it. But anyway, all those vintages between 88 and 2005 are gone. But I had Glen Rothy's regular, and I liked it, so I tried all of those, and I actually did one dinner with all Glen Rothy's different years. It was really fun, and the average age is probably 18 years old, but they're all under $100 a bottle, and then they got scarcer and scarcer, and the next thing they were $200 a bottle, then $300 a bottle, and they're gone. So I do that, and I discover a lot. So this last one I did different expressions of different distilleries. And one of my favorite whiskeys is Glenmorangie, and I like the 18-year-old. And I think I've told this on an earlier episode, but Robert Altman, the late Robert Altman, who was the president of Bethesda, who's married to the first Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, was married. He had a Bethesda E3 showcase event, and then he had an after party for VIPs, and he served Glenmorangie 18, which is one of my favorite whiskeys, and it's about $110 a bottle. And he was pouring that at the sports arena or wherever they had the event, Staples Center, and I was like, how can you, to them, to the Staples Center, how do you have this? This is so great. And they go, oh no, he brought it. And I went up to him and I go, you're pouring $110 scotch for us? And he goes, it's what I drink at home. I would never serve my guests something that I wouldn't drink myself, which is my motto at home too. So I had that before. So I did my most recent one. I did a partly Glenmorangie themed scotch dinner. So I tried a bunch of scotches I haven't had, plus a bunch of more Glenmorangies I had. But I did a port finish, a sherry finish, a ruby port finish, and a sauterne finish. And there was one I'd never heard of before called Glenmorangie Cadboll Estate, Cadboll Estate, 15 years old, sold in America only. So if you're not in America, you're not able to get it. And it's the distinction of this scotch, aside from being 15 years old, is it is made from barley that they grow on premises at the Glenmorangie distillery. So it's Scottish barley, but all the barley is the same. And most of these guys source their barley from different ranches, different farms. And I think they try to buy the same kind of stuff, but again, it's the process. All this stuff came from the same place. American oak, 15 years, no extra flavor. And it was $85 for my scotch dinner, and it was everybody's favorite whiskey. And I went home, and of course the place I bought it didn't have it anymore. So I did an internet search, and I found it at Saratoga Wine and Spirits in New York, upstate New York, for $69.99, and I bought a case. It is so good. So first of all, $50 for a 12-year-old good scotch is about right. $70 for 15 years fair. Oban is 14 and is about $72. Lagavulin is 16 and is about 80. So a 15-year-old whiskey for $69 is awesome. Blue Label Glenmorangie Cadboll Estate, highly recommended. It is not my go-to because I'm not going to be able to get a lot more because I think it's hard to get, but I love it. So that's what I've been drinking lately. My everydays are Dalmore and Aberlour 12. Pretty much I've been drinking those. And I found a new scotch called Arran, Arran, brown label. I think it's only 10 or 12 years, but it's very, very good and not particularly expensive. So I would try some of those. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. Thank you for your patronage on Patreon. Thank you for being a YouTube subscriber, and thank both of you groups for linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, because it's easy, it's free, and we get paid. And for all you slugs out there who have no money, I'm sorry that you don't have any money, and I want you to enjoy some Pack Lovin'. So watch this a week late on YouTube and follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. I swear to God, since I've been doing these, I've done like 600 episodes. I've picked up about 300 Twitter followers. So this is really getting old that I keep asking and hardly anybody follows me. See you next time.